Okay, it's my delight to introduce our next speaker on stage. Please welcome the Chief Innovation Officer from AON on the stage. It's Jillian Slyfield.
Well, I, for one, was excited to hear what Archer had to say. And so it's actually a great lead-in to some of the things that I want to talk to you about. I want to spend the next 15 minutes convincing you that you're not asking enough of me, that you're not asking enough of your broker, of our industry, and of the insurance community at large. Many of you, Archer's an exception to this, but many of you are in kind of what I would affectionately say, wheels-based businesses. So you're in rideshare programs, you're in new mobility, things that we can see out here. And you're using a 127-year-old solution for a future problem. What does that mean? You're using old auto insurance programs, retrofitted, and trying to make it work. And it doesn't always work. So we have something in common. Everyone in this room is a disruptor. Everyone in this room and across the stage there, you're challengers. You're trying to do something different. And I would say you're probably all builders. And I'd like to share with you that I'm a builder too. And by the end of this conversation, I'd like you to think that my commitment to you is that we'll build something together. That we're going to build something that's more efficient for you, more cost-effective for you, and that helps you scale. And you're probably thinking, can my insurance program actually do that? And I'll tell you it can. It can also do the opposite if we don't do it well. And so I'd like to share with you that we can all do it really, really well. So let me give you a little background on who I am. I'm the Chief Innovation Officer for AON. AON is a professional services firm, and we use data and analytics to help you make better decisions about your business. My job as a Chief Innovation Officer is to look at the macroeconomic trends that are impacting our clients on a global basis for which our industry hasn't kept up. So not just AON hasn't kept up, but the whole industry hasn't kept up. And then make bets in those gaps of innovation for our firm so that we can create better value for our clients. And so what does that look like? What that looks like is us looking at things like sustainability, climate and sustainability. It looks like future mobility. It looks like Web3. It looks like intellectual property. And so there's areas that take a long-term perspective. And our industry has not been good at that. And we've underserved you as a result. So what we're committed to doing in the innovation team at AON is making a 3-year, a 5-year, even a 10-year bet that we know what you're going to need, oftentimes just because you're telling us what you need. It's not a secret. And we're willing to have the patience to innovate to that need so that you get solutions that help you create a more efficient business and help you scale. That's my commitment. I'd also like to share with you that I think of insurance as a gatekeeper of innovation. And what I mean by that is that capital, dollars, they won't go where they can't be protected, and they won't go where they don't think they can get a return. So we can protect it through insurance, but you also need to be able to get a return. So what does that mean? When your investors are investing in you, they're expecting a return. Of course they are. How can we help you do that? Insurance is a gatekeeper. It's also a proxy for trust. So when you insert insurance into your transaction, it gives you the opportunity to scale in a way that you couldn't before because you'll get better widespread adoption. There are megatrends that you're feeling and that are impacting you in this space, in future mobility. It's creating newer, complex, and interconnected risks that we never had before and that our industry needs to address on your behalf. When we're thinking about future mobility, we're thinking about rideshare, car share, subscription auto, autonomous vehicles, electric vehicles, the transition that OEMs are going through from internal combustion engine manufacturing to electric vehicle manufacturing. And what does that mean for human capital? What does that mean for the supply chain? How can we address that differently? So those are the businesses that we're talking about. We're also talking about airborne businesses, similar to Archer that was just here on the stage. The gentleman here, Tom, wants to launch in 2 years. If he doesn't have insurance, are you going to get in his vehicle and go from San Francisco to Napa? I live in San Francisco. I won't. I'll bet you won't either. So we've got to step up as an industry and get ready for the innovations that are coming. Some of the trends that we're seeing are that the businesses here are all tech-enabled. Your consumer experience is also tech-enabled. So I drive an electric vehicle. I feel like I'm driving my iPhone, right? It's got a completely different interface than I had in my prior vehicle. We're also getting challenges from our clients around climate and sustainability to become more electric, to become cleaner, to become more efficient in our businesses. Climate change and weather-related risk issues are also creating the largest reallocation of capital in history. So imagine that, the largest reallocation of capital in history. That's an opportunity for everyone here, because what that means is that there is investment in new forms of mobility. Consumer expectations are being raised, and I would say the other expectation that's being raised is around capital and their investment in you. It's not easy to get capital the way that it was a couple of years ago. The expectation on the return on that capital is faster and a higher rate than it was a couple of years ago. So we see these mega trends impacting you. The problem with risk and insurance is that we have not kept pace. So you've got all of these interconnected risks, all of these challenges facing you, and we're still addressing it with old school solutions. What I would challenge you with is that today, the challenges facing you are products that weren't fit for purpose, that are being retrofitted for your use case. We're also distributing them in a way that's not always helpful to you, meaning you still sometimes get a paper copy of your policy, or you get an email version of a policy. It's not coming electronically to you in the way that's most useful to you. It's not distributed to you in an embedded insurance way, meaning it's not included in the transaction when you want it to be. We're also looking at your user experience. Is it easy to do? Does it take 3 clicks to get? Is it too many steps? Is it too costly? Does it not fit my purpose? And lastly, and most importantly, honestly, even when all of that works, are we giving you a claims experience that matches your expectation? And I know claims doesn't sound like that much fun, but the only reason you buy the insurance is that it's going to protect you in the event that something goes wrong. And you want that experience to be excellent for you, streamlined, easy, and you want it to be excellent for your customers if they experience that on your behalf. So instead of being a cost, we'd like for you to think of insurance as a strategy that helps you scale. We also would like you to see that there's a community of experts that sit behind the data and analytics that can see patterns and can help you with cost mitigation. I understand that there's limited capacity. What does limited capacity mean? It means that when you go to market, there's not enough insurance companies out there that want your business. Why don't they want your business? They don't understand it. They don't understand it and they don't have the data. We love looking back at data to predict the future, and when we can't do that, which we can't for most of the business models I see here, we don't know how to behave, because as an industry, we've grown up looking back in order to predict the future and look forward. I mentioned embedded insurance and dynamic products earlier, but that's an expectation and a challenge. We hear you that that's something that you want, and we recognize that the customer service experience right now is a little bit clunky. So there's an innovation gap. And so that gets me kind of excited. So my background has been in mobility. I had the distinct pleasure, prior to being the Chief Innovation Officer at AON, I had the distinct pleasure of working at AON in our digital economy team. So you see a lot of my colleagues here with matching shirts, but that's our future mobility and digital economy team. They focus on businesses just like yours, solving the problems and challenges that we discussed. So we spend a lot of time there. And that innovation gap requires a couple of different characteristics that you can't do on your own, but I'll tell you what, we can't do it on our own either. It takes massive collaboration, and it takes a broker, an insurance broker, and an insurance community alongside you that can help you with the distribution and create a process that works well for you. that can help you with the technology, because you both need kind of software and engineering that works, but you also need kind of broking technology that works, meaning somebody's got to understand how insurance works so it can create solutions for you that are tailored to your needs. And we need to be more client-centric so that we can better understand how you're operating your business. AON is investing in these capabilities and expertise so that we can go away from being that cost and we can drive growth and value for you. I'm asking you to raise your expectations of our industry and collaborate with us, with AON as your broker, and with the markets and the insurance companies there. We can create advancements in data. One of the things that I often hear from our clients is that they don't want to give up their data to the insurance community because the insurance community doesn't know what to do with it, or they don't know how it's going to be used. I would challenge you two ways, which is let's sit down together and look at the data together and figure out how we can optimize a program for you using the data that you have and the insights that you have, and we'll do the same in return. We'll innovate products together that meet the business model that you are today, and more importantly, help you scale to who you want to be 12 months and 36 months from now. And we'll collaborate together every step of the way, because we know that in these programs, you might need something today, and it might need to evolve 6 months from now. And we're happy to do that. When I'm looking at the advancements that we can bring to you, there's a couple of different things I want you to think about. So I mentioned auto insurance. That's going to be critical for many of you here. But there's a couple of other areas where I think we can help you advance your business and think differently about how insurance can be kind of that unlock for you as you scale. I'll give you a couple of examples. One of the areas of investment that we have is called intellectual property solutions. Well, what does that mean? I talked about the volatility in capital. Now, it's harder today to get capital for your business than it was 24 months ago. One of the solutions that we've created is a capability to assess and value the intellectual property of your business. So actually put a value on it, just like there's a value for this building. We assess and value your intellectual property. Then we can use that valuation as collateral for a growth stage loan. Imagine that. So you can get a loan, not based on physical property collateral, huge plus for many of you that have rich IP, but very little physical assets. And you can get a loan rather than trying to get equity from either venture cap, private equity, et cetera, so it's non-dilutive. Now you've got your money to scale. Fantastic. We also have climate and sustainability as one of our areas of investment. As I mentioned earlier, it's the largest reallocation of capital in history. It's a growth opportunity. It's also an opportunity where you need to be more resilient to weather impacted risk issues. And you may very well be one of those businesses that's going through a transition as a result and has impacts both on human capital and supply chain issues. We look at talent-related issues. So how can we innovate for you to protect your talent as you're growing your business? So several of the companies that have been on this stage earlier in the Bay Area. I also live in the Bay Area in San Francisco. The earth tends to move over there. I don't know if you've ever been there. If you've ever been in an earthquake, it's a little disconcerting. One of the products that we've put into market is what we call a CAT bond, catastrophic event bond. But here's what it does that's interesting, and it helps protect your talent. What it does is, for some of our technology-based businesses who have asked for this, is it responds when there's an earthquake within a certain perimeter of one of their office buildings, and for anyone who works in that area code or office building, they get paid $5,000 the second an earthquake of a certain magnitude occurs. So you get a 6.0 earthquake, boom, $5,000 into your bank account, done. Why do we do that? Because your business comes to a screeching halt when people's property is hurt, when they feel like they need to get to safety, when they think they need to pick up their children wherever they are all of a sudden focused on everything but your business. Let's get them focused on your business. And we can do that by getting them to safety, helping their families to safety, and getting them back into a place where they're comfortable. This is a bridge, and it helps support your talent. So when you think about insurance, you can think about how do we help you from a talent perspective? How can we help you from a property and casualty perspective? What can we do in support of strategic growth of your business? So I'll come back to you with my challenge, which is expect more from your broker. Ask more from us. Ask us things you think can't be solved with insurance and risk tools. Just bring it. I want to hear them all. What are your challenges? How are you trying to drive your business? And I'll bet you we can help. I shared this with one of our clients yesterday. One of our colleagues says, we have more people than you have problems. I love that. We've got experts all across the globe ready to respond on your behalf. What it requires, though, is a deeply collaborative response from all of us in this room working together to innovate and create programs for you and to overcome the challenges that we talked about before. So with that, I'll wrap. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you'll visit us. You might have seen our little car. We'd love to see you driving that car in our booth number 2. Thanks.